Hello there. I'm going to answer this question in one sentence. Then I will go on for the rest of the episode to explain what that one sentence means. What is love? Love is to take something as part of yourself. When you love something, you pull it towards yourself. You include it as you. It is an experience more than it could ever be a concept. It is the energetic movement towards oneness. Now, the exact opposite vibration of love is fear. To fear is to push something away from yourself, to disinclude it. You don't take it as you, instead you push it away from yourself. The ultimate reality is that of oneness. You may be looking at a chair or a dog or you in the mirror or your best friend or a tree and think that you're all separate. But the reality is that you are all expressions of the very same energy. And that collective energy has a consciousness. This consciousness is what we have been calling God or Source. Now, there was a thought within consciousness. That thought was I. The thought was define. That thought was a bit like a cancer. The minute it was thought, it caused a fracture within the oneness, because you cannot conceptualize of I without giving birth to the concept of other. This was the birth of the ego, the birth of relationship, the birth of attachment. Like a cell dividing, the united consciousness began dividing and dividing and dividing. These fragments within oneness fragmented to the degree that the consciousness of those fragments lost awareness of the whole. You are one such fragment within oneness that lost awareness of the whole. So is the chair you're sitting on, so is the taxi out on the street, so is the tree outside. Occasionally, one of these fragments positively recognizes itself in the other fragment, and this causes a magnetism. They recognize each other as one. We call that love. Separation is the illusion. But here's the thing. In our physical lives, with our 3D minds, we love to think about illusion as separate from reality. But illusion is part of reality. Remember that in a universe of oneness, that includes illusion. For this reason, we could call fear an illusion within Source consciousness, whose reality is love. So why is love the reality of Source or God? Why is love synonymous with Source or God? The reason is because there is nothing that is not Source or God. To love is to take something as part of oneself, and there is not a thing in existence that is not part of Source or God. That is why Source or God is synonymous with love. In other words, nothing can be excluded from Source or God, and therefore by default it takes everything as itself. Watch your energy when you think things like, I don't like, or I hate, or I'm afraid of, or even negative judgments. It's the same energetic movement. It's a pushing away. You can't push something away from you without making yourself lonely, without making yourself separate. This opposes love. This causes pain. In fact, there is only one pain in this universe. That's the pain of separation. In fact, there is only one form of happiness in this universe. That form of happiness is unity. If you are feeling pain of any kind whatsoever, it means that in this moment you feel separate from something. And anytime you feel happy, it means that in this moment you feel unity with something. When we get into pain in a relationship, it is always an indication that we have a fear present. Why we feel separate from them. So anytime we feel this, we can expose the fear instead. When I am in pain of any kind, I have to ask myself, what part of myself am I trying to push away? usually in response to it being awoken by something external to me? Is it the side of me that doubts the rest of me? Is it the side that feels so powerless and cut off from others that it is in rage? Is it the side of me that doesn't feel like it is good enough? Can I take that part in as part of myself? Can I bring it closer? This is radical self-love. The universe is a mirror of self. Doing this work where we take the aspects of ourselves which we are pushing away and instead bring them closer. This creates not only unity within ourselves, but because the world is a mirror, unity within the external as well. We cannot love an aspect of ourselves that we are pushing away without simultaneously loving whatever is triggering us to push that thing away. For example, a war triggers the aspect of you that feels powerless. You want to get away from that part of you, but by bringing it closer, taking it as yourself, your resistance to the war is decreased by proxy, and that ends the war, because the war itself is resistance. Or let's imagine that somebody in your life is much more accomplished than you are. By virtue of stepping into their presence, it's automatically going to call up two aspects of you. The first is the aspect of you that feels like it is never good enough. The second is the aspect of you, which is the perpetrator telling you you're never good enough, trying to make you good enough, the one that's hard. That external person is going to mirror for you both aspects that are within you, both aspects that you're desperately trying to push away from yourself. They mirror the split, the two fragments within you that are standing opposite of each other. By seeing that both fragments actually need to be loved, to be brought closer, it becomes possible to imagine doing so. By doing this, you love them, and by loving them, you are in fact loving the other person external to you that mirrored them. Meet the need of the disintegrated self. The disintegrated self is any aspect of you, internal, or any aspect of the world external that you push away from yourself. What does that aspect need in order to be brought closer to you, or closer to the whole? This is your work in the world. One of the easiest love practices to take on is looking for similarities. When we are not in a practice of love, our mind is constantly searching for the difference between ourselves and other people. It is constantly separating you from everything and from everyone. So the antidote to this is to look for your similarities. How am I the same as this thing in the world, especially those things that I'm pushing away from myself? What part of you are they an embodiment of? You as a singularity cannot love something and hate it at the same time. It is only possible that a part of you can hate something and another part of you can love something. But see right there, you yourself have to be in a state of disintegration to love and hate something at the same time. If you want to be loved, you should know that one of the greatest barriers, if not the greatest barrier to being loved, is inauthenticity. In a state of inauthenticity, you don't even offer the truth of yourself up to someone so that they can take it in as part of themselves. By not being authentic, you are keeping yourself separate. You're not even giving other people the opportunity to love you. The universe's heart is broken into different things and people. You can't not have a broken heart as an I that is separate from other things. It is our job to love that broken heart back to unity. When we love anything, including an aspect of ourselves, because we are a part of God or Source, we are in fact part of Source or God coming back from a state of disintegration into a state of integration, oneness. The new question that you have to ask towards the things that you fear and hate is, how can I not love this? How can I not love this? The truth of the reality of this universe is oneness, which means that it doesn't matter whether you like something or dislike it. It is part of you. You can't not love something because, like it or not, it is part of you. So practice the art of integration. Practice the art of oneness. Practice the art of love. They are all different words for the very same thing. Take the aspects of yourself, especially those that you push away, and instead take them as part of yourself. Have a good week.